All right, guys, I'm out here this morning. I'm gonna try to straighten this cross member, the rear axle on this Harbor Freight mini trencher. As you can see, it's bent pretty good. And I've got these tire holders on here. So I cut that piece of steel at 26 inches going across the bottom. It's 2 inch by 2 inch, and I think it was a 1/4 inch thick if I remember correctly. It's pretty thick. I'm just getting it up there so I can kind of see where I need to be at, and I'm gonna have to get this thing started and get it up in the air higher where I can turn this one upside down because of the pumps in the way, and so I can't twist it and tighten it up. But what I'm gonna do is grind this piece of steel off and get it really nice and clean, and then do me a little grinding and knock the paint off of both sides of that rear axle. And I've got my little plasma cutter sitting right here. That little dude, where'd I put that piece of steel at? That little plasma cutter, man. If you guys are after a plasma cutter, I don't work for these people. I have nothing to do with them. Prime Weld. That one is, I think it's 4 years old, maybe even a little over 4 years old. Look at that. And I am not a cutting torch guy. I'm not a welder guy. I just do this to fix stuff for myself. But it did such a great job. I cut that in 5 seconds. I mean, it just whacked right through it. I mean, that's a pretty blame clean weld for a little 50 amp plasma cutter. It just does such a fantastic job. If you need one, get one of those. But back to this. This is what we're here for. Harbor Freight mini trencher. This happened, I think it happened gradually, and then all of a sudden it went crazy on me real quick. I believe this weld over here broke on the bottom. And actually you can see a crack right there. So what I'm gonna do is try to straighten it. And like I said, I'm gonna mark my holes so I can blast my holes down this way for my pins right there so they can drop all the way through. I actually thought about leaving it long so I can move my axles out further, but I thought, heck, that's just that much more stress on it. So I cut it at 26 inches. I'm gonna attempt to weld it and see what happens. I'll put this thing on time lapse after I kind of get everything lined up and ready to go. Take care. All right, this took longer than I thought it would. I tried tightening them up evenly, going, one full revolution, tried taking it up that way. This side was bent a lot more. And I just couldn't get it, and I started bending this little piece right here. And so then what I did, I was using the wire just to kind of hold it in place until I got everything started. Then I would go around 2 revolutions on this and about 1.5 revolutions on this until I got this side all the way up, because this side was bent up more. And I thought this side might give it leverage. So after I got this side touching, then I came back over here and I'd go around 2 revolutions and then let it set for maybe 30 seconds to a minute, then do it again and do it again. I just kept on going around and around and around until I started bending that little T-handle. And then I got my pipe wrench and I just hooked it right down here, right below the threads right here. And I'd go around 1/2 revolution and let it set for maybe 30 seconds and let it kind of do its thing, and then do it again and again and again until I finally got it touching here and here. Well, I'm gonna take my trusty axe there, and as it moved on me a little bit right here, and beat this back to where it needs to be, mark this hole from here and this hole from here, take it back off, do some grinding, and get everything ready to weld. And I've got me some 6011 welding rods, and a friend of mine gave me this old welder, and it works. It's so old it doesn't even have a cooling fan in it, excuse me. It has a heat sink inside of it. It's a very old Lincoln, but it works fantastic. Does everything I want it to do. And what I was saying a while ago about I thought it cracked, it did. Luckily, this is not the tanks up here. This is just for a piece of weight and to hold the motor. But you can see where it cracked up here. All the years of me digging with this thing and moving it around, it did this. So what I'm gonna do is get me a wet rag and get it up here above this and weld this. Try to weld this up, and I'm gonna go across here and stitch it on both sides and try to get this thing in here as best I can. But before I do anything, I need to mark my holes here and here, blast them out so my pins will drop through. But man, that was a little bit more of a job than I thought it would be. It really was. It took quite a while. Well, I'm gonna take that off, blast the holes, and get everything ground down, and I'll bring y'all back in just a few minutes. Okay, I meant to show you this and I forgot. Also, if you look right here, you can see a crack, and it comes all the way underneath and goes back there. So it did crack right there. That was my problem. I guess they didn't get a good enough weld on it, or I just beat on it for too many hours, because this thing's got mega hours on it. It's way over 300 hours now. So I don't know. Like I said, I meant to take a picture of that and I forgot. It's a pretty good crack. I'm gonna try to weld that up real good too. I'm gonna grind it all down and see if I can't get something done with that. All right, guys, I tell you what, everything I touch, it seems like it takes twice as long as I think it should. As you can see, I tell you what, you guys make me a better welder because I grind everything down really good, where I normally wouldn't do that. But don't want y'all to see my nasty welds. I got this welded from here all the way back and up underneath here. I haven't ground this part off yet because I'm going to grind right in here. But as you can see, I've got it back up there really good and tight. Now going back up this time, because I had already kind of stretched everything, it did really good. I didn't have any problems. All right, well, I'm going to get this thing going here again and try to get everything welded up, and I'll bring you back in a minute. Okay, guys, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I am not a welder. I'm a dauber. But as you can see, there's a lot of little pieces of welding rod down there. I got it welded up pretty good across this side. And I'm welding upside down and in a weird position back here. But I got this pretty good on both sides. I've still got to do this spot right here. I'm fixing to go get me a couple of rags and see if I can figure out a way to hold the rags up there while I do that. That's a pretty good sized crack. I was really surprised after I got it all bent back in shape. It just really opened up, but I'm gonna turn my welder down. I've got it sitting on about, I don't know, 75 or 80 amps right now. I'm gonna turn it down to about 60, because this up here is a lot thinner steel on the bottom. I was really paying attention to it. If I wasn't careful, I'd burn through it. I had to really go slow. But it's coming along. It's way better than it was this morning when I started, as you can see. Well, I'm gonna, like I said, first thing I'm gonna do is try my tires and make sure they slide back up in there. Well, here in a few minutes, I'll let everything cool down, but I'm gonna clean this up and, like I said, get me some wet rags to put up there to kind of keep that aluminum case nice and cool. All right, I'll bring you out back in a minute. All right, guys, I got up in here and I got that all, as I said, daubed up. I was being as careful as I could be because I didn't want to get this hot up here. So I would weld about a 1/2 inch and then wet everything. And then I'd weld about a 1/2 inch or maybe an inch and then wet everything, because I didn't want these hoses or that aluminum case or any of this stuff getting hot. So I just worked my way around. And I got the tires back on there. They slid right in and out. I was afraid I might have gotten that metal hot and it, pinched right here up inside of here. And it didn't. It did really good. But I was kind of worried about it. Well, that's another job, guys. Like I said, it wasn't that hard. It was just a little time consuming. If I would have had a bigger clamp, I think it would have been a lot easier. Or if I'd have had a cutting torch where I could have heated it up a little bit and then brung it down, which all I have is my plasma cutter. I don't have a cutting torch where I could have heated with anything. I mean, I've got a torch on a propane bottle, but that thing throws out a flame like a flamethrower. You wouldn't want to mess with it. Well, I got this done, and I'm gonna call it quits and get my mess all put up. And I got out here yesterday and I didn't mow. I brush hogged the yard. It's been about between 6 and 8 weeks since I've been up here, and I planted 100 pounds of grass, over 100 pounds of grass seed, and that stuff shot up. And well, we haven't been able to come back for different reasons. And anyways, I got up here yesterday and that grass was over 1 foot high. But what blows my mind is underneath the shade trees over there, it all died. And I don't know why, because we've had more rain down here this year than we've ever had before. Well, you guys take care, and thank you so much for checking in with me. I hope this helps somebody. You guys have a great day.